Hello and welcome to ETRetail's exclusive Curtain Raiser series ahead of our flagship e-commerce and digital native summit 2023. So today we are in conversation with investor, content creator and entrepreneur Masoom Minawala. Hi Masoom, thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So Masoom, the theme of our series is the rise of India's digital economy. We have been speaking with policymakers, influencers, investors and also content creators. Your relationship with startup and businesses started at the age of 19 when you built your first brand. And over the years, you have built a self-made digital brand of yourself. How do you see the digital market has evolved and changed over these years?
So, honestly, today India has 900 million internet users, which is the second largest in the world. And I think that is something to really take notice of, but also that is something that the entire world is taking notice of currently. So, we're in this position, we're in this prime position, which we really are focusing on, capturing this audience and making the most of it. We also have a very, very strong youth economy, as we know, one of the largest, youngest populations in the world, which makes them active internet users and makes them succumb, and palpable when it comes to new trends, new economies of scale, and etc. So I think when we're talking about the digital economy, e-commerce holds a very strong standing. But for someone like me, there's also digital content, which in so many different ways is playing such a large role in how our economy is shaping up today.
Correct. Oh, beautifully put. So, as you mentioned, the rise of new economies, the creator economy is something which is very exciting. And interestingly, it's expected to play a very significant role in the country's GDP. We expect the creator economy to shape up how the future of e-commerce will look like. There has been rise of trends such as social commerce, live shopping, influencer-led marketing. What are your thoughts on these trends?
Absolutely. I agree with you to begin with. We are going to impact the overall GDP of the country. We are going to heavily impact the growing e-com industry in our country. But thirdly, we're also impacting every single individual as an industry as a whole. We're reaching so many millions of people all over India. We're actually being able to impact their mindset, which I think is far more important than the first 2 points that we mentioned, right? Because with creators and influencers, what's happening is that because we're so real and relatable to our audiences, we're able to really penetrate every household. So what we're saying, what we're doing, the perspectives that we're sharing is actually leaving such a strong imprint on the people of India, which in turn is becoming, which is why it's becoming such an indispensable economy.
Yeah.
Also, I think we have one of the largest volumes of content creators and influencers than any other country has in the world, which only increases the number of households we're actually being able to penetrate into. But some of the challenges that, of course, we have as an economy is that is monetization, right? For all creators, one of the main forms of monetization for creators is brand collaborations, brand associations. And sometimes that doesn't trickle down to micro creators or creators that are belonging to tier 2, tier 3 cities and smaller towns. So, like some of the two startups that I've invested in are doing some great, fantastic work in this region, which actually help creators monetize through their audience and not necessarily rely on brand collaborations, right? So, actually making and elevating the use of their community, which already exists.
Wonderful. You pointed out some beautiful pointers there. Um, as you mentioned about the rise of regional creators and of course the important angle of monetization, how crucial do you think personalization becomes here, or tapping the local culture, tapping the local context becomes as brands, digital brands grow up to serve the real Bharat?
Extremely crucial. I think there is a certain, like I said, one of the main factors when it comes to the success of a content creator is a relatability aspect, right? When audiences and communities are seeing someone that is like them, that behaves like them, that belongs to a family like theirs. This is where culture also plays a very strong role, right? Are you wearing clothes of a certain culture? Are you behaving? Are you showcasing products of a certain culture? And I think that only increases the relatability of your community to you. So, for example, I was visiting Rajasthan, right? To give an example, now I create content, a lot of content within the fashion field and category. And I was visiting Rajasthan for a holiday with my family, and I was there and I was so inspired to create a piece of content that I could actually showcase and highlight the regional fashion that is
Yeah.
so unique to Rajasthan. Um, and I got in touch with a designer there who creates the most unique handcrafted poshaks, right? That is what the regional outfit of Rajasthan is
Yeah.
referred to. And when I donned that outfit and I created that piece of content while I was in Fort Bharwara, there was an entire community that I didn't know even belonged in my audience that really kind of woke up with such dedication towards me, because they felt so immensely proud, and they felt like they felt like I was directly talking to them. So it was also a hint of that recognition, that hint of personalization that kind of gets added, that she respects our culture, she's embracing it, she's celebrating it. And that is such a big part of where our country comes from. Even if we're talking about e-commerce industry, even if we're talking about the annual sales that it has, and it sees a peak of revenues through the year, so many of them are actually celebrating regional holidays,
Yeah.
right? Regional festivals, cultural festivals. So I do think that, as a whole, as an economy, we are very aware of the importance of regional and cultural moments and how to actually involve them to further elevate our businesses.
Wonderful. So again, a beautiful example of Rajasthan. You work very closely with two brands. You're also a very strategic investor. How do you think brands should create content as this content to commerce era is here, that serves the customer with exactly what they want to read or what they want to consume? That's a very difficult decision, considering the audience of India. It's so diverse. It's so rapidly evolving. So that becomes a very challenging task. What's the thought process behind that?
Well, I agree. And, kind of instead of pointing out data points here, or, giving more generic examples, which I'm sure can be found on the internet, I actually want to give a little bit of a more personal perspective, which is, if there's any brand out there who's looking to use content, right, to relate to their consumer more, I would say take a moment to kind of just introspect and ask yourself that, if I am a consumer today, what is the kind of content I would like to see from a brand?
Yeah.
If I am a consumer today, what is the kind of content that I would relate to, react to, and take action on? It's a very simple exercise, but sometimes the answers that we can find through this is something that I do very often when it comes to my business and my content strategy. That versus looking outside for inspiration and looking for trends, I ask myself that, as a consumer of digital content, what do I want to see from a fashion influencer? What do I want to see from an entrepreneur? Right? What is it that would actually help my journey? And I'm creating content pieces. Similarly, for D2C brands or multinational brands, I think this is a good question to ask. Is that,
Yeah.
should I create helpful content, informative content, educational content? Which route should I take, or should I take more casual or uh, comedy content, for example?
Yeah.
That could be an answer. It could be something that's completely out of the box. But sometimes going by the written rules doesn't work, because we're trying to appeal to humans, right? There is an emotion and there's personality that kicks in, and we have to be mindful of that.
Wonderful. Very honest answer, I'll say. Just one last question. As the next set of digital leaders comes from India, and hopefully regional creators take, the center stage, what's the one or two qualities you believe that will drive their success or their growth?
I think there's just one, and it's jugaad.
Okay.
I think it's the one quality that is going to take Indian entrepreneurs and leaders and really elevate them and make them global entrepreneurs and leaders. Right? I think this is a very unique characteristic that every Indian is gifted with.
Yeah.
And the ones that are playing on this strength are the ones that are really, on taking the right path and are the fastest in the race. So I think that element of jugaad, which is taking on anything, which is finding solutions that are creative and innovative and unique and not by the book, is what is going to take us the furthest.
Wonderful. I really like that answer. Great. Thank you so much for your time, Masoom.
Thank you.